CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Evan Kenny.
Good evening. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister says the violence in Mexico is expected to subside in the coming days. This comes as thousands of Canadians are questioning when they can come home after canceled flights from Puerto Vallarta. CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti reports.
This is one of the explosions at Marina.
This is what Farah Saunders woke up to Monday morning in Puerto Vallarta. She and her husband left the resort to get breakfast and saw a fire in the distance.
We just seen a bus that had exploded. It wasn't just a normal fire. The Starbucks was getting ready to shut its doors. We quickly learned it was the cartel.
Saunders is one of many tourists stuck at a resort. Widespread violence erupted after the Mexican army killed the leader of a major drug cartel on Sunday. The violence leading to Canadians being advised to shelter in place.
They need to stay inside, listen to government, listen to the reports, and wait to find out when this has been cleared up. It might take a few days.
CTV's public safety analyst is vacationing near Playa del Carmen. He says while it's normal to be nervous, tourists shouldn't worry.
The tourists aren't a threat. The tourists are only a threat to be harmed if they get in the way or they get in the middle.
While the violence hasn't reached his area, many people are feeling on edge.
Of course it's anxiety-provoking. Of course it's scary.
Murray Billett has been a snowbird in Puerto Vallarta for 30 years and has only seen this type of response during a natural disaster. This is the view from his apartment, smoke and helicopters flying by.
A lot of trauma bouncing all over the town, a lot of anxiety, a lot of damage.
But he's making the most of it with his neighbors.
We're sharing our groceries and we're sharing our booze because we're all stuck at home. Yesterday afternoon, a whole bunch of us went down and played bingos.
He's scheduled to come home in April, but will return earlier if the Canadian government advises it. Saunders will have to stay until flights out of Puerto Vallarta resume.
Nobody knows anything. We're just kind of stuck here. There's many of us Albertans in our hotel that are just waiting.
Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
While all flights have been canceled between Edmonton and Puerto Vallarta today, the Vacation Cities Airport currently shows one scheduled departing flight to Edmonton tomorrow afternoon. A brother of the Tumbler Ridge shooter has been arrested in Alberta on a Canada-wide warrant. 22-year-old Jacob Van Rootseller is the older brother of the shooter. Police say he was wanted in connection with an incident allegedly involving an edged weapon in 2024 in Fort McMurray. A warrant was issued earlier this month when police found he was not at his approved residence. He was arrested on Friday in Sylvan Lake. Police would not say whether the warrant was issued before or after the mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge. Nurses have ratified a new deal with Covenant Health. The Alberta Union of Provincial Employees says more than 89% of those that voted did so in favor of the deal. The deal includes a 12% raise over 4 years, a 10% adjustment for licensed practical nurses, and a 4% increase for healthcare aides. The Alberta government plans to boost healthcare spending in the next budget to what it calls historic levels. As CTV's Amanda Anderson reports, not everyone on the front lines believes money will fix the crisis.
Overcrowding and long waits have long plagued Alberta's healthcare system, even leading some doctors to say several patients have died while waiting for care after going to emergency rooms.
We have a long history.
Today, the Premier announced a financial boost for healthcare in the province.
As part of Budget 2026, we will be spending $7.7 billion paying physicians. This is an increase of $1.4 billion, or 22% more than last year, and the highest amount in the province's history.
Money that will go towards physician compensation to not only attract new doctors, but keep the ones we have.
I think we got to a really good place in our negotiations with nurse practitioners and family doctors, but now we have to work through all of the different specialties, and part of that is going to be looking at where we are relative to the number of specialists in other large provinces, and whether there are some that we need to do more attraction for and others where we're doing just fine.
The province says there are 13,000 doctors licensed in Alberta, up from about 10,000 10 years ago.
This is about a 50-50 split with family medicine and specialists. Not to say that we don't need more. particularly as we're aging and as our population grows, etc. But we have been very successful in recruiting in a lot of those disciplines.
Are those 13,000 working full-time? Are they working part-time? Are they working at all? And what kind of medicine are they practicing? I'll tell you, we're short of emergency doctors.
Longtime emergency room doctor and former MLA Raj Sherman welcomes the money, but says it's not entirely the solution.
We always welcome more money into healthcare, but we want to make sure it's targeted and put in the right areas. It's well utilized, it's not wasted, and that it's going to actually achieve the outcome, which is better and faster access to quality healthcare for Albertans.
The funding, which is part of the upcoming budget, will still need to be approved. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
CTV News will have full coverage and analysis of the Alberta budget on Thursday, February 26th. The address itself will come down at about 3:15. We will bring you comprehensive coverage of where the money is going and what it means for you on our website, ctvnewsedmonton.ca, and on CTV News at 5 and 6. Today is the end of the 90-day signature collection period for the petition to recall UCP MLA Nathan Neudorf. It's been a frustrating time for some who have been unable to sign the petition. CTV's Quinn Keenan explains.
3 months ago, Ryan Tanner submitted an application for a citizen's petition to recall Minister of Affordability and Utilities Nathan Neudorf. Since then, it appears Tanner has made little to no effort to collect signatures. It's unclear if anyone has been able to sign the petition.
Well, it definitely has been somewhat frustrating, I would say, because although legally there was a petition put out by a Ryan Tanner and some alleged accomplices, it went nowhere as far as we know.
CTV News has been unable to locate or speak to Tanner despite weeks and months of attempts. Meanwhile, speculation has ranged from an attempt to sabotage a legitimate petition to Neudorf himself being involved. There's no proof to the rumors, and Neudorf has denied the allegation, saying in a statement, "I remain steadfast in my commitment to serve every constituent, including those who have had concerns or felt unheard." The Recall Act does not require a petitioner to actually collect signatures. Elections Alberta will not say if any complaint has been filed, adding any investigation requires the election commissioner must have reasonable grounds to believe an infraction has occurred. Still, the whole situation could leave a sour taste in the mouths of voters come the next election.
He's tainted at the very least by presumably the actions of some of his fairly avid supporters, and that is the kind of thing that certainly could stick to him despite any disavowals that he was practically tangibly involved in this.
Any signatures collected must be handed to Elections Alberta by now. Results from the petition will be published within the next 28 days. Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
A question on Alberta's future in Canada may be added to October's referendum. On her radio call-in show Saturday, 2 callers asked Premier Danielle Smith what she would do about the Forever Canadian petition. More than 404,000 signatures have been collected in response to the question, do you agree Alberta should remain in Canada? The Premier says this week a bipartisan committee will be struck to examine the petition.
May well be that they make the decision to put it on the ballot in October, or it may be that they make the decision to put it to a vote in the legislature. But it's a legal issue because the petition language calls for a referendum, and I think a lot of citizens signed it on that basis. So we have to do a little bit more study on that one.
In a statement, the petition's author, Thomas Lukazik, says, "We believe that there is no need for divisive, politically motivated referenda, but if there is a referenda, the Forever Canada question should be on the ballot." Protesters took to the Alberta legislature over the weekend to demonstrate against what they call a provincial government that's pushing Alberta separation through its fall referendum plan. As CTV's Connor Hogg found, the organizers of Alberta's separation petition are also unhappy with the direction the province is taking.
Despite frigid temperatures Saturday, hundreds took to the legislature steps to protest what they call a government pushing Alberta separation forward.
Smith talks about a sovereign Alberta within a Canada, but, you know, she's waffling.
We want our lives to stay the way they are.
Our kids and our grandkids.
Yeah. We're solid Canadian citizens.
On Thursday, Premier Danielle Smith announced a list of questions her government will put to Albertans in a referendum on October 19th. She says it's possible more could be added to the list, referencing the citizen referendum questions about Alberta staying or leaving Canada, as well as coal mining in the Rocky Mountains.
Nobody's congratulating her for, giving Albertans this wonderful opportunity to speak to all of these issues. People are angry on both sides of the issue.
Stay Free Alberta is the group advocating for the province to separate from Canada. They say Smith is attempting to distract and diminish the group's work. They see their proposal as too important to be just one of a list.
Our question has to be a standalone question. You can't muddy our question up with 9 questions.
One of their canvassing locations isn't in Canada. An event for Albertans vacationing in Arizona was held in the Grand Canyon State Saturday. Elections Alberta confirms this is allowed as long as it's Canadians who are both canvassing and signing.
It shows that our canvassers are creative. They're having fun with this.
That's what freedom's all about. Go ahead, but it's absolutely ludicrous.
I just wish that there'd be more emphasis on the Forever Canada petition.
The Forever Canadian petition, which was certified by Elections Alberta last year, wants the province to stay in Canada. Danielle Smith confirming the future of that petition question on her radio show Saturday.
We have to put that to a bipartisan committee, which we will do when we return next week.
She says a committee will be gathered to determine whether it will be put to a vote in the legislature or added to the October referendum list. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
A survey by Angus Reid is providing a little insight as to how the rest of Canada feels about the Alberta separation debate. The survey says if it were possible, 79% of Canadians would block Alberta from separating. While Canadians don't have a vote, a constitutional amendment for provincial separation would need the approval of at least 7 provinces, representing 50% of the population. 1/4 of Canadians believe Alberta's provincial economy would improve with separation. 61% say it would have a negative impact. Nearly half of respondents also believe the U.S. would use economic or political means to compel Alberta to join the U.S. The survey is accurate 2-3 percentage points, 19 times out of 20. The city says no new major road construction projects are starting this year, and traffic congestion should ease up in the fall. Still, as CTV's Nicole Weisberg reports, there's a lot of projects that need to be finished, prompting the city to put at least 2 on the back burner.
Construction marred Edmonton roads last year with major projects including the Valley Line West, Yellowhead Trail Freeway conversion, and Imagine Jasper Avenue in full force. This year, projects like these will continue, meaning another busy construction season. Adding to the challenges, Edmonton's growth. City staff say between 2023 and 2025, we saw about 80,000 new drivers. And
pre-pandemic travel patterns increasing, which has a direct consequence in increasing our peak hour congestion.
To assess the impact of this year's projects, staff completed traffic modeling. It forecasts improvements on portions of the Yellowhead, 104th Avenue, and White Mud Drive. It also forecasts increased congestion on 215th Street, 50th Street, and 41st Avenue. As well, it anticipates relief this fall with the expected completion of the Wellington Bridge, 95 Avenue construction, and Stage 2 of Terwilliger Drive expansion.
Last year was the perfect storm with a number of our major projects overlapping, projects that just couldn't be delayed any further happening at the same time.
The city is looking to prevent that from happening again. It has delayed work that was supposed to happen on the low-level bridge until 2027. As well, work EPCOR was supposed to do on 107th Avenue.
In that area where maybe we
we still have to have two parallel roadways closed down at the same time or under construction at the same time. Maybe instead we say, let's close this one down in its entirety, work on it 24/7, get it done, and then once that's done, you move on to the other road.
Council and staff are also vowing communication on projects and detours will be improved and are investigating new ways to reach people. Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Coming up next, the provincial government steps in as a town north of Edmonton runs out of money. Also just ahead, putting a price on domestic violence, what new research says about the cost of abuse.
This report highlights something we do not talk enough about: the cost of failing to intervene earlier.
Good evening, folks. Another cold one today for the 7th consecutive day. Temperatures failed to get above -10. It was -12 for a daytime high. Should see an end to that streak tomorrow, though. And by Wednesday, Thursday, we're above 0. All those details in just a few minutes.
A group trying to stop coal mining in the Rocky Mountains has started canvassing across the province.
You know, there's so much push for development and not enough push for preservation of these natural resources. So, I support it. I'm with y'all.
Albertans lined up to sign their name this weekend, including here in Edmonton. The No New Coal Mining Initiative is headed up by country singer Corblund. The petition calls for the government to introduce legislation prohibiting any new coal mining activity, including a proposed mine in Crow's Nest Pass.
It's really about the runoff into our waterways and what that does for agriculture, fishing, tourism, farmers, right? And so it's very short term looking at coal, but we have a long-term goal to protect the province.
Lund's group has until June 10th to collect more than 177,000 signatures. New research from the University of Calgary puts a price on failing to intervene when it comes to domestic violence by men. Researchers found domestic violence by men cost the city of Calgary about $58 million a year. That includes policing, justice system, and victim-related expenses. 90% of those costs were funded by taxpayers, and 10% was paid directly by victims. The report's author says more community-led solutions are needed.
This report highlights something we do not talk enough about: the cost of failing to intervene earlier. When we wait until violence becomes criminal, the human and financial toll grows. But the evidence in this report shows there is a different path and it's possible.
The research that we've heard about today is deeply valuable, not because it shows us necessarily something that's new or novel, but because it validates a direction that CPS has been committed to for years.
The report says directing men to behavior change programs could reduce domestic violence by up to 40%. That could save more than $18 million a year. The town of Gibbons is getting provincial support after running out of money. The government is giving the town $500,000 after Gibbons reached its debt ceiling of $13 million and drained its reserves. Town council says this money will help keep it afloat until the next tax period. The town is also allowed to defer some of its debt payments. The province is looking at the town's finances and conducting a viability review to see what the future of Gibbons could look like.
To determine a viable solution, whether that is the ability to remain a municipality or whether dissolution actually is an option, and what that looks like for our community members.
The town says it is working with the province on hosting a town hall before the summer. CTV News reached out to the Municipal Affairs Minister. His office declined an interview. In a release Friday, Dan Williams said he has already met with the Gibbons Mayor and Council and Mayor and Council of Sturgeon County to discuss the next steps. The city has ended its parking ban earlier than expected. The parking ban for major roadways ended Sunday morning, a day earlier than scheduled. Plows and scrapers will now start in residential areas, grooming and leveling out driving lanes, and plowing alleys where necessary. Residential work is expected to last up to 2 weeks. The city says it's not planning to implement a neighborhood parking ban. The city's extreme weather response will end tomorrow at noon. That means tonight will be the final night with an expanded overnight shuttle service. City facilities and libraries will remain open during regular hours for anyone who needs to warm up and get away from the cold. The city says it will reactivate the extreme weather response later in the week if temperatures drop. Firefighters who braved freezing temperatures during a rooftop campout have surpassed their fundraising goal. 5 firefighters climbed onto the roof of Fire Station 2 in downtown Edmonton Wednesday. They camped out in frigid temperatures, needing donations to receive essentials like tents, sleeping bags, and camping equipment. Their goal was $71,000. They raised more than $85,000 for Muscular Dystrophy Canada. The firefighters came back down Friday night.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Welcome back. In the minus 20s again this morning. 6 of the last 7 mornings have been in the minus 20s. That's coming to an end. Minus 12, as we mentioned earlier, this is the 7th straight day that we've failed to get above minus 10. Minus 3 is average. That streak of 7 straight days below minus 10 comes to an end tomorrow as we get back to around average and then above 0 for Wednesday, Thursday. Watch through the overnight period. A little bit of light snow there around the Edmonton region or just off to the south. A little better chance for the Red Deer area. Then through the afternoon, I think most of the snow is going to stay well to the north of the Edmonton region. So just mostly cloudy skies tomorrow. In fact, you've got a couple of low pressure systems that'll move across the north over the next few days. And that actually could drop some fairly significant snow. I think by the end of Thursday, from high level southeast towards Fort McMurray, you might see 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. Nowhere near that much expected in the Edmonton region, although Thursday could see a little rain-snow mix. Minus 23, Fort McMurray tomorrow morning. Still on the chilly side there in the northwest. Temperatures in a couple spots close to minus 30. Grand Prairie, you're going to see temperatures around minus 15 by tomorrow morning. Temperatures are actually climbing here overnight tonight. You've already hit your overnight low. 0 by tomorrow afternoon. 0 in Whitecourt. Minus 10 range for another day in Fort McMurray and Cold Lake. About minus 3 in Red Deer. Minus 10 range for Lloydminster and a couple of degrees above 0 in Jasper. Watch the big warm-up for tomorrow from Edmonton off to the south and west into the blue zone. Above 0 in the greens for Wednesday and Thursday. And then, it looks like briefly we'll get back into some cold Arctic air for Friday and Saturday. There's your chance of flurries tomorrow morning. Nothing significant for snowfall, though. Mostly cloudy, minus 4 in the afternoon. 3 or 4 for daytime highs Wednesday, Thursday. We'll keep an eye on that chance of rain or wet snow for Thursday. Updates as the week goes on. Could do without the rain, especially with that cool down on the way for Friday, Saturday. Temperatures will rebound, though, as we head through the first week of March. Looks like we should hold pretty steady right around average. That is your forecast.
Team Canada may have lost the gold medal hockey game, but there is a silver lining for Connor McDavid. He's been crowned the MVP and top forward at the Milano Cortina Olympics. The Edmonton Oilers captain led the tournament with 13 points in 6 games, scoring 2 goals and adding 11 assists. McDavid now holds the record for most points among NHL players at any Winter Games. There were also 3 Canadians named to the All-Star team, with Cale Makar and Macklin Celebrini joining McDavid. Oilers forward Zach Hyman performed in front of a different crowd over the weekend.
Holy Toledo, that must have gone 100 miles an hour, said one referee to the other. That kid's got a cannon.
Oilers winger Zach Hyman read his own children's book to families at West Edmonton Mall. Hockey Hero was written in 2015. Ticket sales from the event were donated to the Edmonton Public Library's Early Literacy Initiative. The program offers resources to families with young children. Hyman says Hockey Hero is about a special relationship between a grandson and grandfather and the power of believing in yourself.
I always loved reading and writing. I had a big imagination as a kid, and I try to promote literacy and try to promote reading and writing just the age we live in now, everybody's on their phones and tablets, and I think it's so important to actually pick up a physical book, be able to read it, learn how to write, learn how to use your imagination, and just I think it's super important.
Hyman has also written another sports-themed picture book called The Bambino and Me, and an action-adventure book, The Magician's Secret. Kids not only had the chance for reading time with the Oiler winger, they also walked away with a signed copy of Hockey Hero to bring home. All right, and hopefully he's our hockey hero when the Oilers are back on the ice on Wednesday. That's all the time we have tonight. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great rest of your night.